Hello there. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the fifth episode of Office 2.0, the future of work. Now, all of us are in this situation where nobody was expecting to be, and due to the current situation, a lot of industries from education to manufacturing to healthcare to IT to events to travel, hospitality, everything has been impacted, and everything is functioning very differently now. 3 months back we thought, I mean, we know it is a pandemic, but it's amazing how all of us have coped with the current situation, and we've caught on, and we're proving it that life just moves on. Nothing ever stops. Things change slightly, but we keep doing our stuff. We just change the way we work. We change the way we learn, the way we go to school, the way we do all our stuff. But life just keeps on moving. So welcome once again. I'm Shrikant Acharya, CEO at thehomeoffice.in. Thehomeoffice.in is an e-commerce platform where we try to list curated set of products that are useful for people to work from home in the current situation that is much needed. Today, I have a very interesting personality. I mean, in the last 4 episodes, we've spoken enough about the IT and IT-enabled services, right? We've seen that IT and IT-enabled services are able to. I mean, they have their hiccups and they have their own challenges too, but they're at least able to take their laptops home or their systems home and plug into high-speed internet from home, and they're somehow able to manage. But what happens to businesses where you need to physically be present? What happens to manufacturing? What happens to events and hospitality and travel and everything are a huge industry, and very prominent to the business, to the way businesses would happen up until March end. Now suddenly from April, May, June, there's been almost no travel, almost no physical events, and manufacturing has been hit big time because of all the regulations. So how is the industry really coping up? To speak about this, I have a very good friend, a mentor of mine, and somebody I've had the fortune of working with. So let me introduce to you Vilas. Vilas is a very creative person. I've known him for the last 3, 4, or maybe 5 or 6 years or so. And he started off his career in 1995 working with O&M, Ogilvy and Mather, which is one of the leading ad agencies. So he's got amazing expertise and experience with media, advertising, and in the marketing space. 2002, he became an entrepreneur and he started his own event management company. And for 13 years, he was an event manager who worked with, I think, 400, 500 different music bands, global as well as domestic. You name the musician, he's created and managed events for them. And he's worked, and over the span of almost a decade, he's created, I think, 600 plus events for different corporates, as well as he's created multiple flagship events under his own brand. One of the prominent ones among those is Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest at one point was the largest music and beer festival that happened in India, and for 10 editions, Oktoberfest was the place to be for youth, for music, and for having a good time. And after that, in 2015, Vilas joined Herbalife as the head of events, promotions, and communication. And since 2018, Vilas has been the director at Indian Machine Tools Manufacturers Association, which is IMTMA. Now, not many of you may know this, but IMTMA is the organizer of IMTEX, which is India's most coveted manufacturing trade show, which happens it happens every year in January. If you're a manufacturer, there's no way you don't know about IMTEX. It happens every year in BIEC. And with that, let me introduce to you Vilas. Hello,
Hey,
Vilas. Thank you so
Shrikant.
much for agreeing to come to this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's always pleasure talking to you, Shrikant. Actually, so and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts. And I think it's a nice, way to actually start my weekend.
All right, perfect. Let's try and have some fun. So let me open today's session with the first question that I ask every person who comes on my show. It is, what do you think is the future of work?
Oh man, actually, I think we are, I mean, all of us are already, talked about it for almost now 3 months. Now we are used to this scenario. So now it's like, looks like, we are already accustomed to this particular lifestyle. So I want to be very optimistic because now
Yeah,
it's been really 3 months. I think every industry has actually found a way to live. It is a new normal, I would say. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think so I think there is a great innovations and great things to talk about.
All right, awesome. So before I ask Vilas the next question, let me speak to the audience here. Right, today we're going to be speaking about events. We're going to be speaking about manufacturing, and if I want to open out a poll here, right? I want to ask you guys, what do you think is the sector which is going to have a great time, where there's going to be a lot of demand, which is going to see a lot of growth in the manufacturing space? You can tell me whatever comes to your mind, right? It could be in the pharmacy space or pharmaceutical space, or it could be in the infra space, or it could be in the automobile space, or it could be exports. Whatever comes to your mind, write down in the comments. Whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook, write down in the comments below which manufacturing segment do you think is going to see the greatest growth. And I'm going to come back to that question in a few more minutes. So Vilas, you have been, as far as I know, you've been in marketing. You're great at digital marketing. You've been working with O&M, and you have great experience with traditional marketing as well. And but what I know you most for is the scale of events that you managed, both at your own company and at Herbalife. The scale of events was massive, and I know you've done everything there is to do in events, right? And uh, events, I think, is one of the most impacted businesses that is there right now. So what's your take on that, and what do you see happening in the events and event space in the coming months?
Yeah, so no doubt, actually, this is among the most affected, industry, especially this scenario. So, but having said that, they are actually the event industry is very resilient for these challenges.
Yeah.
So now they have
Yes.
found a way to work around these challenges, and they found a way. Actually, I would say I'm very happy. So, for example, if you see any space, I mean, events actually, like, it could be a music based event or a corporate based event. They found a way. Today, you can see a lot of online music festival happening, online concerts happening, and that is something
Right.
heard of. So those things they found
Yeah.
a way. And one most important thing is the corporate events, where they are able to actually work around the situation and come up with a new innovation. See, I would say these kind of challenges gives you an opportunity to ideate things, adopt a new technology, and come up with new innovations. So in one among that, for example, there is currently now the physical event is, as of now, actually, I would share, probably I think it is very difficult because of the norms that people more than 50 people can't gather. In this scenario,
Yeah.
what do we do? So people started working on, and there are a lot of companies, and now these physical event managers become a digital event manager,
Even
where
just
there are a lot of options are there, like virtual events, and there is something called hybrid events. I mean, it's very rarely you use these words, but now today it's an order of the day. So hybrid events is
yeah.
like you do both physical as well as parallelly you will air on live on this thing, this
Right.
platform. So there
Yeah.
are a lot of people who are offering these things. For example, recently I attended this Amazon event, where
Okay.
physically it is so difficult to organize an event within one day with around 40-50 speakers, and the parallel it is happening in 4 different continents. So they were
Right.
actually able to put things together through this new innovation, which is the technology AI based platform, where very flawlessly they organize these things. And there also you have an option where you can choose which particular session you want to attend, and or if you don't like it, you can come out. And during this
Right.
break, you have a lot of engagement, just like a physical event. So I'm so happy that I know we are actually reached to this stage where we are actually able to give a solution to our clients. Yeah.
Right, right. Absolutely. I agree with you. I had the opportunity of being on one of those kind of events, and the chat rooms and the
Yeah.
conference rooms that are happening in private. It's amazing. Actually, the quality of networking is probably better than it
Absolutely.
happens in physical events, because you know
Absolutely.
you have access to all the thousands of participants who are there in that, and
Absolutely.
they're not even physically present there, right? So this particular interview that we are having is another example like that. This would have been a fireside chat in one of the events, but we're sitting miles away and we're still able to do that.
No, the thing is, another thing actually, the beauty of this thing is you are integrating with the social media and you are
Yeah,
able to get an analytics post event and just
yeah,
on your finger trip. Because in physical event, it is so difficult to analyze. It can actually get into a specific thing that how much time you spent in each session, which are the interest levels. That kind of a statistics you can pull out from this particular technology. That's an interesting one.
yes. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. I remember, I think about a year back or so, or maybe a couple of years back, there was a Facebook post that I saw about a couple that was getting engaged over Skype or something like that. I think the bride was
Yeah.
in India, the groom was in US or something like that, and that was hilarious. We thought that is really funny, and we thought that was the joke of the century or something. But now that looks like pretty much the reality. The
Reality.
weddings now are all
No,
happening.
okay. Have you ever thought that award function can be done on virtual way? Most important thing in everybody's life is actually graduation, right? Day. So that
Yeah.
graduation day is happening virtually today. And also when it comes to
Yes. Yes.
education, you have that international students going abroad and studying. Even that become an online course. And come on, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the heights of innovation and technology, but I'm loving it actually.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. I know a lot of companies who are onboarding new employees virtually over
Of course.
Microsoft meetings and so on, right? So that's how, I mean, in a way, that's really really cool. But now tell me, what is the impact on manufacturing due to the current situation? You have the privilege of working and interacting with associations. I mean, through the IMTMA association, there are thousands of manufacturers who are there, and clearly that's been impacted. Like every industry, that's been impacted. So what is the impact, and how is the manufacturing industry coming back up?
Yeah, so you're right. Actually, so even in the manufacturing sector, we have affected very badly. But having said that, it's okay. There are pains and there are also like an opportunity. So especially these SMEs are actually the most who got affected. So you might be aware that there are a lot of migrant workers, because if you see in the maximum number of employment happens in the manufacturing sector. So all
Yeah.
these people coming from across India, so during this thing, so they're all left. So now there is a huge gap, in that space where they are facing a problem with the laborers, because this is where actually, manufacturing sector, depends on. So that is one challenge
Correct.
they are facing. But having said that, now I would say this is an opportunity. So because of this, now they are also found a kind of a working around where, so now they are getting into digitization. So you can say that,
Hmm.
like a lot of companies, be it automobile or a lot of PSUs or a lot of manufacturing in different segments. So they're all getting into a digitization mode, more of robotics and things like that. One. Second opportunity
Hmm.
is, because of this, now our own member companies, for example, they are also like, they are typically machine tool manufacturers. Now they have
Yeah.
it's very difficult for them to actually venture out into a separate segment. But because of this,
Yeah.
now they found a way to get into a different sector, like for example health sector. So now our few
Right.
companies got into manufacturing of ventilators. Now that is a need of the hour.
Hmm.
So earlier
Yeah.
India didn't have that kind of a thing, but today we have surplus. Fourth opportunity is, because of this pandemic, now a lot of, for example, US companies who are based out of China. So now they are moving out of China and they are trying to set up their companies outside China, which we actually stand a chance in a big way, and that's a great opportunity
Yeah.
for us. And this will actually leads in what do you say, creating a maximum employment in the future, and there's a great opportunity for us. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think you touched upon a very very interesting point here. You spoke about for the lack of any other phrase, let me call it the anti-China sentiment that's happening globally, right? And India is standing to benefit, and thanks to the Make in India programs and the Atmanirbhar initiatives and all these kind of things. Is it
Yeah.
just something that's there on paper, or are you actually able to see some impact in the manufacturing space?
So it is actually happening right now as on we are talking. So it is happening from past a month and a half. There are a lot of initiative coming from central government as well as state government are showing interest, and they're already in the talks with quite a few multinational companies. So it is going to be a reality. So to what, how far right now, I'll not be able to give you any kind of this thing indication. One Atmanirbhar thing, Make in India, and the digital India. So these three
Yeah.
things will come together, and it will actually going to be a major game changer in coming days.
Awesome. So, audience, if you're hearing and if you're in the manufacturing space, just hold on, wear your seat belts, and just wait for this phase to pass. And I think India is going to be in a very India is going to be great in demand. That we've already seen that a lot of manufacturing sectors are moving out of China and a lot of other locations and coming to India. So just wait till your time comes. So I want to take a quick diversion, and I want to tell the audience, for those of you who are staying back till the end, I have a gift for you. So hang on till the end, and we're going to give you something that's going to make it worth your while beyond just being able to listen to Vilas. All right, and I read news that BIC and with the facilitation of IMTMA has created Asia's largest COVID care center, a medical center. So the large, any of you who've been to Tumkur Road near the Pinya Nice Road Junction, that's where BIEC is, right? It's a massive exhibition center. It's really huge, and I think it is India's largest exhibition center. And now, in the current situation, it has been transformed into a COVID care center. So, can you tell us a little bit about that, Vilas?
Yeah. So we are very proud about that particular thing. It all started around 2 months back, where the lot of these migrant workers actually leaving the city. So they they needed this temporary shelter and things like that. We did provide because with the government this thing. So we had provided our space as a shelter home for temporary this thing. So close to around 10,000 to 15,000 people we have given a shelter. So that's how it started, and then based
Amazing.
on that, the government actually asked us to work with this particular case center. So now it was a requirement. So we agreed upon it, and now they are setting up Asia's biggest case center for COVID.
Super. So, on behalf of the entire community, I want to thank you and thank BIC and thank IMTMA and everybody for facilitating something like that, because that's the need of the hour, right? And I think that's an
Yeah.
exemplary. It's a fantastic example of how businesses step up when the need arises. It's not just about P&L and just about balance sheets. There's a big commitment that businesses make towards the society around which they live.
It's basically
Yes,
it's
go ahead, Vilas.
in our DNA, organization culture, because we are actually almost 75-year-old organization, not for profit.
Right. So I'll request the audience, if you have any questions related to the future of events, the future of manufacturing, or the future of work, please type in. I see Prasad has a question, so I'll come to that in a minute. So in the next few minutes, please, yes, Prasad, I will ask that question. So we'll wait for a couple of more questions, and I want to ask you. You mentioned opportunity multiple times in this interview, right? So I want to hear from you. Most people feel that there is lack of opportunity that is there right now. As an employee, most people are losing their jobs. As entrepreneurs, there's no funds, there's no business happening in most sectors, and overall, even large businesses are cutting down salaries, are going through one of the toughest phases, right? But you mentioned about opportunities. Can you tell me what you see as the biggest opportunities, and what do you see in the next 3 6 months or 12 months? What do you think is going to grow, and what's going to happen?
See, there's no doubt. Actually, it's a very difficult time we are all going through. So, what I meant to say is opportunity, because it is not the first time we are going through. Yes, it is the biggest, recession kind of a thing we are going through. Because earlier, also in 2000 and 2008, we have been gone through, and we have kind of risen out of it, and we are so this time it's something which both in terms of event industry as well as in terms of manufacturing industry. As I said, I had already given you few examples that where actually the manufacturing industry is going to go in the next couple of years. The same way with event
Yeah.
industry, that yes, no doubt, currently it is a kind of a correction period where there is a revenue impacted on revenues, impacted on the the employment and things like that. But as I said, actually, so now this after three and a half months, we every companies in these respective industry have found a way to actually come out of it, and other things. So there are, like, there are quite a few. Say for example, in event industry today, so like people who have skill set in digital space, there's a lot of requirement for people who are actually having that skill set. For example, today need of the hour, people who have a digital kind of a mind space,
Yeah.
so they can actually get into this thing.
Okay. All right. So I have Prasad Maripudi who's asking, what is the major one change that we can see in manufacturing industry if the pandemic continues for a while like this? That's a good question.
See, right now, actually, I would say major changes. Actually, as I said, one definitely, the different sectors like medical, agriculture, or construction or infrastructure. These sectors are going to grow because of this. That is one change, I would say. But
Yeah. So you've been seeing the manufacturing space, right? The challenges that are faced by the event space are relatively more obvious. So what, according to you, are the top three challenges faced by the manufacturing industry in general, as a manufacturing factory owner, or somebody who's at the management of a large manufacturing firm? What are the top three challenges that you're likely to be facing, and how would you probably address this?
okay, so the one is actually the first challenge. Of course, they have built up a huge inventory, and
Yeah.
then because of that, actually, because of the current situation, the demand is actually a bit low, and they are sitting on a huge inventory. That is one. Second thing is,
Right.
as I said, the labors. Yeah, so their manpower, there's an issue they are facing right now. So hopefully, I think in a couple of months that should be resolved. Yeah, third thing is because of this, manpower thing. So now they're also actually getting, they have a challenge of having a skill set of digitization, because they want to get into a digitization, but there are not many, skilled people available in that space. So currently these are the three challenges I would say is
Yeah,
bothering.
yeah. I think that's a good point. So another favorite question that I ask, my favorite question is, change is happening at such a fast pace right now. It's happening at speed that we've never seen before, right? So in the coming few months and years, what skills do you think are going to be most important for you to have a good career? You mentioned about this in a little bit a while ago.
So one is, of course, then first top of the list is actually getting digitization is one skill set you need to have, because that is one thing which will help anybody to actually be in that space for a long time. Because in the current world, whereas the changes is actually happening on day-to-day basis, so this is most important for people to adopt. The earlier adopters are always gain the most, actually. So that
Yeah.
I would say that one skill actually is required currently. So the rest is regular. Yeah, digitization, digital world, digital marketing, and communication is very important today. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take another question from. Okay, so I have a couple of questions. Naila asking, how can a live musician find events to perform at during a lockdown? I think that's an extraordinary question, and I think that's a question that will be very close to your heart, Vilas.
Oh yeah, that is one amazing thing keeps happening. Be it event management association initiation or even individual artist. So they are already, I know, set of group are already organizing these festivals, and you get to, because so many people working from home, they have time, and regularly they don't get time to go out and, I know, attend these concerts. But today you have an opportunity to sit at home and enjoy all genre of music, so be it even EDM, and DJs and VJs are coming together, collaborating, and they are actually coming up with this set of 1 hour, 2 hour. And the same way with musicians, and all the greatest musicians are actually coming together. There is no barrier, so they are actually collaborating online. I have
Yeah.
recently one of the event, Ricky Cage event, where there are nearly around 40 artists, both Indian and global. They collaborated live, so that was a great initiative, I would say. So like that, I mean, there are quite a few things is going to come. And say, as I said, that the technology is playing a major role, and
Yeah.
by giving that physical experience even in this field also. So wait for some time, you will actually get to see a very interesting stuff happening in this space. Yeah.
Right, right. So I have one more question. Before I take that question, I want to tell you, I promised you guys that there's going to be a gift for somebody who stays to the end. So please use a coupon code Vilas 250. Okay, and get 250 rupees discount on anything that you purchase on thehomeoffice.in. At thehomeoffice.in, you have a series of products that are useful for you to work from home. So I'm actually going to take two more questions now. One is what Praveen asks here. He says, what would be effective to MSME and to large companies if the pandemic continues, right? So, I mean, before I ask Vilas to answer this, I would suggest, I mean, we don't have to think so much about what will happen if the pandemic continues. Let's not worry too much. Make sure we are staying calm, staying relaxed, and look at it as an opportunity to spend good quality time with your family. I know it's not so easy for everyone. There are financial issues to worry about and those kind of things, but I think the most important thing, in my personal belief, is that you need to stay positive. Make sure you're holding a good state of mind. Watch some positive things, read some books, and that's my point of view. What's your thought on this, Vilas?
Um, yeah, I agree with you. Actually, see now, right now, we need to actually go, have to take one day at a time, because there are a lot of developments happening. Earlier, we already discussed. I mean, be it a government initiative, our ecosystem is actually getting ready for it. But right now, it will be wrong on my part to say anything, because there are and a lot of things are going to happen in very soon. I would say in another couple of months. Just wait, and as Shrikant mentioned, be positive about things. So beyond this, I don't want to make any comment right now.
All right. Awesome. Fantastic, Vilas. It was great speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time. One last
Thank you.
question before I let you go. Do you
Yeah.
like working from home or do you like working from office? And, and the pros and cons of both.
Um, okay, so to be very frank, actually, say I prefer working physically. So coming to office, and both has advantages and disadvantages. But first two, I mean, during the lockdown, in fact, I was also victim of that work from home culture. But somehow it was quite taxing. In fact, during work, work from home, where no time, nothing. So there is no Saturdays, Sundays, and too many calls. It is kind of very hectic, I felt. And that's my opinion. I don't know about others, especially IT. I believe they are used to it for a very long time. But people
Yeah.
like us,
Yeah.
we would like to actually meet people in person and this thing. So that is one thing. I actually prefer working from office rather than from home. Yeah.
What does your daughter think about it? So you have a lovely daughter, and I love her so much. And what does your daughter prefer? That you go to office or
Oh,
that you work from home?
oh no! So given the chance, my daughter wants me to be at home. So because she is bored to death. So she's like, not moving out and being at home and
Yeah.
not playing with us. So for us only it is so difficult. Imagine
Yeah.
for kids. So she wants me at home 24/7. So that's more. She's more than
Yeah.
happy.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes. I think we don't speak enough about how the kids are putting up with this pandemic, and how they are actually they're the most energetic lot of us all, right? So and despite that, they're agreeing to stay at home and not making a tantrum. I think you have to give it off to them, right? All right. So thank you
True,
so
true.
much. With that, we end this session. Thank you so much, Vilas. It was great fun speaking to you, and look forward to connecting with you soon again. All right. Thank
Same
you.
here.
Thank you very
A
much,
pleasure
audience. Thank
talking
you
to
for
you.
coming again.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. See you guys
Bye.
again on the sixth episode on next Friday. Bye bye.